They say that overcoming adversity builds strength, it builds character, it toughens you up. But I think as an organization, the Baltimore Ravens have had their fill of it. Throughout their existence, they've gone through one thing or next. They've gone through injuries, players passing away. The Ravens have seen it all. And sometimes you just wonder to yourself, when is enough enough? When is it that this franchise is not going to be snake bitten for one reason or another? First, beginning of this offseason, we've had injury after injury. Not all of them have been that major. It hasn't been anything really serious, but it just seems like every other day, one player or another gets injured somehow. Then we get the news that, hey, All-Pro, All-World safety Kyle Hamilton's injured. Then we start holding our breath like, oh Lord, we can't have this happen this season. He comes back, Rashad Bateman comes back. We start getting players getting back into the fold, and then it's like, all right, maybe we're starting to get settled as a team, and then you get hit with something else. For me, first it was the news that Mark Andrews was in a car accident, and the way that it was put on Twitter, it made it seem like something tragically happened to him. So of course I jumped on and read it, and he was in a car accident, but thank goodness nothing major, nothing serious. He was able to make it to practice, but he may have some lumps and pains, who knows. From all intents and purposes, he appears to be okay. Then, looking some more, I see that over the weekend, Coach Joe D, our offensive line coach, has been hospitalized for an acute injury, and he's going to miss some time off the season. For me personally, I think it may be the full season, especially when you're 60, 70 plus years old. You need to put your health first and foremost, and I think for him, maybe he needs to take the season off. Super Bowl be damned. Your health is a little bit more important than this game. So, in the interim, Greg Warhop has been brought in to be our offensive line coach. And of course, we wish Coach Joe D a speedy recovery. Hope that he gets his health right. Hope whatever is ailing him isn't too serious. But now we have to enter a problem. The Baltimore Ravens were already in a situation where they had to replace 3/5 of their offensive line. We're trying to figure out a starting five for the opening season, and now this happens. And I know that I said earlier that the Ravens have dealt with more serious things in the past, but to me, when does enough become enough? Like, are we being hardened? Are we being tested for something greater to appear throughout this season? Are the Baltimore Ravens being pulled down right now to be brought up to greatness later on in the season? I personally thought that it was going to be hard enough for this offensive line to gel, come together, and be a strength of this team, even with Joe D here, being that we have so many moving pieces, so many moving compartments all around the field when it comes to the offensive line. Now we're bringing in a new coach, possibly with a new philosophy. Maybe he'll try to adapt to Joey D's philosophy. Who knows? But I don't know how that's going to work, because for me personally, when I'm trying to push my philosophy on somebody else, I'm going from experience. I'm going from what I know. I'm going from what I feel is best. And to tell me to come in here and give you somebody else's perspective and talk how they would talk and try to think how they would think, that makes things even harder. Now, was Warhop brought in because he is familiar with what we have going on? Is it similar, or is it a sort of a next man up type thing? But in the interim, he is now the offensive line coach. Don't know what's going to happen, but hopefully Coach and Mark Andrews will be all right. My only thing is, what is next? What do we have to look forward to next? And it better be positive, because we do not need any more injuries. David Ojabo came back. Some say he's looking like a terror out there. Some say he's running around on one leg. I don't know. But all of these little injuries are starting to become an issue. It's starting to become a problem. It's starting to test the Ravens' depth. Me personally, with all the mishaps and everything that has gone on, I would give the players a day off. Like, everybody sit out. Come over here, let me put you all in bubble wrap, and we're going to get everybody home safely. Like, today just ain't the day. Hopefully, fingers crossed, everything goes well. But this just reminds me of a couple of years ago when there was a chain reaction. And I think it was the same practice. Gus Edwards blew out his knee, and then Marcus Peters went down too in the same practice. Like, once you start to see things not going your way for a day, when you start to see that there's a negative light or a dark cloud over you, shut it down. Practice be damned. Shut it all down. Let's listen. Burn some sage. Say a prayer, whatever you need to do, but we need to get this stink up off of us, because I do believe this is the year the Ravens should win the Super Bowl. Just the progression of what the Ravens have been through and how they've gone throughout the past several seasons, this is the Super Bowl year. But we have to remain healthy. We have to do what's right for the players. We have to keep them in the best shape, but keep them as healthy as possible right now, because this is a long season. And the Ravens have a very tough stretch to start the beginning of the season. And you don't want to go in there pressing and rushing and having people overcompensating because they got nicked up early on. We already have a couple things going against us just from today only, just from the news today. We all were wondering, could Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews be on the field together and work out? We need to make sure Mark Andrews gets home and gets to practice. Maybe what the Ravens should do is, and I know it would be pretty hard, but the Ravens need to get like a team bus, picks them all up, drops everybody off. I mean, I volunteer. If I got to drive them all around, I hate driving, especially in Baltimore and the traffic and everything. If I got to drive all the players around in a team bus just to get them back and forth and make sure that they're safe, let's do it. Baltimore Ravens, I challenge you to hire me for your organization and let me drive the players around and make sure that they're safe, because I got you. But in all seriousness, something has to happen. I'm tired of going on to the internet each and every day and seeing that somebody else is injured, seeing that somebody else is nicked up. And I understand there's 100% injury rate in the NFL. It's inevitable. But there is one thing I think that the Ravens should kind of look into. This is just me personally, and watching some documentaries and some series, looking at I think it was the Patriots Dynasty on Apple TV, if I'm not mistaken. What happened was, when, say what you want about him, you like him, you don't like him, you think he's the greatest, you don't think he's the greatest, but I think it was the plyometrics, the pliability that Tom Brady and his trainer, the one that they kept kicking out, I think that in looking and researching into it, it does wonders for the body. And Tom Brady said himself, like, pains that he had before, he didn't have, and injuries he should have encountered, he did not, because his body was so loose, his ligaments and everything, just the pliability of his muscles and tendons allowed him not to get injured. And maybe the Ravens need to look at something a little bit more. Listen, take nothing away from weight training and strength training, but flexibility is key. Flexibility keeps a lot of people from getting injured in certain situations that they would. And I'm gonna throw this out there, and don't get mad at me, I'm not trying to push it, it's just a suggestion. If you look at it and you do your research, check it out, vegans get less injuries. I'm just saying, recover faster, get stronger faster. I'm just throwing it out there. So, maybe we need to get some plyometrics and some veganism in on some of these Baltimore Ravens players. Fix their health, fix them from going down, see if it works. Just check it out. That's all I'm saying. But for me, in my heart of hearts, I've been disappointed in seasons before. I've thought about things and been like, yeah, we could. It's a possibility we look like it. But for me, I feel it in my heart that the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl. For us to win the Super Bowl, we need Lamar healthy. And to have Lamar healthy, we need him to have weapons. And for Lamar to have weapons, he needs his weapons to be healthy. And more than anything else, he needs an offensive line to protect him. And for him to have an offensive line to protect him, he needs an offensive line coach to teach them. You could have size, speed, and strength, but if you don't have the knowledge combined with that, and you don't have the experience, and you don't have someone correcting you on your mistakes and helping you get better, you are no good to the team. And I'm not saying that this new guy isn't going to come in and do his thing. He may even turn out to be better than what we had. But the thing is, we don't know at this time. There's no possibility for us to know what the future holds for us. We don't know who's going to go down. We don't know if somebody's going to go down. We don't know if somebody's going to stay around for the full season. We knew what we were getting out of Coach Joe D. We were trying to figure out, could this be his best coaching job of his career? Could he actually turn this around and get 3/5, 60% of a new starting line to come together and gel and help take us somewhere we have not been in over a decade? So for now, we have to see what this new guy's going to bring, how he's going to coach him up, how this offensive line is going to be affected, and if Mark Andrews is and can remain truly healthy for this season. Because with hands of stone Ronnie Garvin running around here dropping everything in sight, and we're going to need Mark Andrews to pick it up in the playoffs. Not just the regular season, in the playoffs. But for this to even be a possibility, we need Mark Andrews safe and healthy. And last thing, when you beat reporters and writers, put Twitter and articles out there about players or anybody, I don't care who you talk about. When you start putting stuff out there, don't put out there devastating news. Don't put out there something tragic happened. It's not the most fun. It's not the best thing, but people get in car accidents every day. And if you can get up and walk away from it, it wasn't tragic. Don't start the headline off like that, because you look at it and you don't even want to open it up. With all the things going on in today's climate, you just don't know. So be careful with the words that you use. That's all I'm asking. So to everybody out there, take care of yourself and be safe as you possibly can. Because you never know when something can strike, something can afflict you, something can come in and alter your life. Just be careful and just be thankful for what you have. That's about it.
Nah, man, I'm cool.